Today, I'm talking to an award-winning filmmaker, Kyle Saylors. Growing up in a small Texas town, Kyle and his brother Kenny only had a dream to work with. Their only connection to the film industry was watching movies on their family's TV set. Kyle talks about creating opportunity, the power of determination, and willingness to change on the journey of following one's path, all the while never losing sight of a higher purpose and the redemptive power of entertainment. I'm Tai Chi. At 19, I was a superstar, and I was lost inside. I left it all behind, switched continents, and started all over. Years later, I found myself lost again, this time in the American dream. This is a story about awakening, about living the life you were created for, about going inward and discovering the joyous and purposeful person you and I are both meant to be. This is Waking Up in America. I'm so excited about today's guest. Kyle Saylors is a producer and director known for movies like Veil of Tears and Kim Jong-Gilia, and we'll talk about it. He was also director of photography on that movie, which was nominated for Best Cinematographer at Sundance Festival. Kyle, I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you. And what's really cool is that Nashville is such an awesome town. I know you through a friend of mine, Brian Lennox.
Yeah.
Great producer.
Yeah.
And you are kind of like a people person in this town, people connector.
Yeah, I guess you'd say. Yeah, I have parties at my house for the entertainment industry, music, film, television, publishing, new media, whatever, and we'll have, 300 or 400 people come out and just have a good time, and they all connect. And then from that, I do dinners that are 20 to 30 of those people at a time, once a week if I'm in town. And so, yeah, I've gone to dinner with probably 700 people in the last 6 months that way.
Wow,
so,
700 people. And the purpose of it is?
So people can just connect. Everybody tells their story and they all connect, and so all of my friends are doing business with all my other friends, and so, yeah. Yes,
and that's very unique, in an industry that's usually very competitive, very, I don't want you to get my jobs, and I don't want you to introduce you to this producer because I want the chance.
Yeah.
Do you find that?
Yeah, that's how, I used to live in LA, and it was pretty much, I'd worked for like 3 or 4 years on projects with one of our closest partners, and he would still not introduce us to his best connections. So it was ridiculous. Like, I was like, come on, we're doing projects. Like, come on, we could use, And so I just figured, hey, if you're over here and you can help this person, and y'all can help each other, and I know you can help each other, and I don't let you connect, that's just wrong to me.
Yeah, and what I noticed is that really the back motivation for it is to allow people to do great things and make the world a better place.
Yeah, yeah.
Because, just the people you have in the room, there's that kind of sense of, like, your company is Saylors Brothers Entertainment, and you have a tagline, entertainment with purpose.
Yeah.
What does that mean for you?
We really, my brother and I, when I say we believe in finding projects or things, and not everything. We've done a lot of fluff. We've done shows with Red Bull and with whatever, like, cool sports, Indy 500 kind of stuff. But like, we do a lot with finding a redemptive storyline. You can find a redemptive storyline in almost anything. And so if you're going to take the time, there's too much time and energy and money and everything that goes into a project not to have some bigger purpose than just to make somebody laugh or smile or go hoo-hoo for a few minutes. So.
Yeah, and when I heard your story and I want to give a shout out to women in film and television in Nashville, because that's where I heard your story.
Yeah.
Really what struck me was, okay, here's this boy from Texas, so far removed from industry. It's not like you come from an industry family, right?
Yeah.
But then you make it happen. Tell me about that dream when you were little.
Okay, so I watched, movies like Steven Spielberg films or Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever. My mom wouldn't let me watch them, but I would, late at night, I'd make my own versions. And or she wouldn't let me watch anything that had any bad words. So that's how I learned how to edit, actually, was by going through and cutting all the bad stuff out. And late at night, I would rent them and then make my own versions that I could watch. But anyway, and so... Wait,
how did you edit? This was before...
VCR camera to VCR, yeah. I would rent the movies and you could just pop them in and pause.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't have an editing system. But then, so I found my journal recently, and it was actually like, all it was is listings of everything that we watched on TV, all the shows and all that. So my brother and I created 2 networks. Mine was MCH, the movie channel. His was Showbiz. And we would go and we would pick TV shows and movies to watch that week. And whoever thought that they picked the better ones won the ratings for that week. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So yeah,
How
it's just
creative.
always been in our blood, even though my dad was a cop, preacher, and a truck driver. So I had no, my mom was basically a stay-at-home mom, pastor's wife, didn't really do anything. And so like, you know, had no connection to anything. So it was just this crazy wild-eyed dream to like, oh, hey, let's do something in that business. So.
Wow, we're talking to Kyle Saylors, a co-founder of Saylors Brothers Entertainment with Purpose. When we come back, we'll talk about a series of turning points in Kyle's life that is motivation to what he's doing today. Do you feel stuck in life? Are you waiting for a miracle? Would you like to transform your pain and anxiety into joy and freedom? Here's how. The answers are in my book, Turning Points. There are dozens of stories of people like you, people stuck in addictions, abuse, and bad relationships. But they all took that first step. They all went on a transformational journey, and so can you. Visit wakinguprevolution.com, amazon.com, or any major online bookseller. Get your copy and turn your life around today. I'm talking to Kyle Saylors, award-winning filmmaker and director and producer. Mm-hmm. Yes. When I heard your story, it seemed like you had a series of these, I don't want to say coincidences, really like turning points that, you know, like that night that we were driving from Denny's to Denny's, and at the end met the producer. Yeah. And then the other one was in high school when you became a people person. So tell me a little bit about that. Okay, so from when I was in high school, elementary school, I didn't really have any friends. I had like one maybe, and then I had like one best friend, and then my brother would let me borrow his friends. So we would, but yeah, pretty much up through there. But I always listened. I always observed everybody. And then I went into college, and I read this book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I realized, so what I did is the first week, I was like, these people don't know who I am. I changed the way I dress. I got a haircut. I got contacts instead of glasses. So I just walked up, hey, how's it going? What's your name? You know, where are you from? Just ask them a few questions. They would say da-da-da. So I went and I would write it down, and then I would memorize it that night. And so the first week, I met and memorized over 200 people. It was a small university. So like all of a sudden, I was the most popular guy in school. And I realized popularity had nothing to do with, you could be popular without being good at anything. You could just care about people. That's it. Right, because you cared enough to remember their names, even though it wasn't natural to you to do that. Yeah. So, you know, what that says to me is like you assessed the situation and you decided you can change it. You didn't have to live with this, what kept you stuck, right? Mm-hmm. From making friends, from being popular, because that does come with perks of being connected and also being able to make a difference in people's lives. And that's what I love. That's what, you know, we talk about a lot on the show, but these turning points in which we take action. So that's one thing. What was another time when you mentioned Denny's? So we started working at a network called TBN. I started as grip and then camera, and then moved up from the local show to the national grip and then camera. And where's that in the country? And it's in Dallas. So that was their international production center. So it's the hub for their whole worldwide operation. So we learned, you know, the basics, and then we started doing floor directing, general production stuff. And then from there, one day, 2 people didn't show up. Somebody called me and they said, hey, 2 people didn't show up. If your brother can get over here in 10 minutes, you're hired. So we went over, we started working for NBC Sports for the Dallas Cowboy game. So then we were like, whoa, now we're, you know, growing up in Texas, that was the ultimate, you know, gig. So, but that gave us some credibility, but then we still hadn't made anything ourselves. So we said, we didn't know yet really how to direct or whatever. So we said, well, we'll start as a producer, because what is a producer? Nobody knows, as long as you just make something happen. So I made a business card, and we went around, we made one music video. We went and one night we went around and we went to this Denny's, and it was closed. And I don't know if you've ever been to Denny's, but it's 24 hours a day, you know. So we go to another one down the road, and it's got a line of people all the way. So we're like, I've never seen Denny's that packed. So we're like, we're not going in there. It'll take forever. My friend's like, he goes, no, we're going to eat at Denny's. So we go another 15 miles. We walk up, about to walk in, and the lady literally comes up and shuts the door.
and like, hey, we just had this huge spill, we got to close up. And we're like, okay, we're not going to Denny's. And then, we end up across the whole Metroplex, and there's this place, and so this rapper comes in. Well, before this, I had met this guy at an animation studio that had a big, awesome facility, and I said, hey, what would it take if we brought you a project? Could we had no reel, we had nothing to prove, except for our Dallas Cowboy stuff, but like, if we brought you a project, can we be producers? And he's like, I don't care. If they got money, you can be whatever you want. So that was in our brain, okay, this is how we could do it. So anyway, we see this guy, and we know he's from No Limit because he has the big chain and the diamonds. And so he sits right next to us, and he's over listening to our conversation, and I'm over listening to his. So I'm like, right before we leave, I'm like, I'm going to go talk to him. And they're like, what are you going to say? I was like, I'm just going to. So I walked over, I said, hey, hey, man, you with No Limit? And he's like, yeah. I said, we do music videos. And he goes, he didn't ask who we worked with. He didn't ask anything. He said, what budgets do you work on? And so I don't know what possessed me to say this, but I said, oh, man, you can't afford us. And he goes, oh, yeah, we can afford anything we want. He threw it down. That turned into MTV's most expensive videos of the year. And working with a bunch of big name multi-platinum acts and all that stuff. So
yes, there's so many people, filmmakers, very talented people in this industry who have this notion that someday somebody will discover me and then I'll have this great career. Okay, obviously that's not what you did. You made your opportunities. Yeah, sounds like. And is that what you? You create opportunities with these dinners that you host in Nashville. But is that what you would? Yeah. Also, I think living in LA, I saw two type of people. Now, with a little time and perspective, you can see, like, there's the cop that sit at the coffee shop every day. They have this is my Academy Award script. I'm not doing anything. This is the one. And so they sit there. And so from looking back 10 years now, there's this other type. So I got one friend over here who's like, this is it. And it really is. This could potentially be an Academy Award, but it's like a $100 million movie. Like, how are you going to make that? So then we have another friend, and they were composers, and we gave them their very first music on a movie. They were twin composers is what they go by. And anyway, they play violins. And so we gave them their first music on a movie. It's a little movie called Dreamland. And then they would play anywhere. They played at Universal City Walk. They played here, there. They played on anything they could get on, anywhere, anytime. Well, so this weekend, I went to the movie theater. Nice Guys with Russell Crowe and X-Men, they did the orchestrations for both of those movies. Wow. So, whereas I go back to LA, the other guy, he's sitting there with the same script, still talking about that's my Academy Award, he's done nothing. So, that's the way I approach it. Like, do everything you can everywhere. All of our biggest projects we've ever had came out of little ones. We're talking to Kyle Saylors on creating opportunities while you're following your dream and making it come true. We're talking to Kyle Saylors, a filmmaker who creates his own opportunities and inspires others to do the same. So when I saw you at the Women in Film and Television Luncheon and you gave your talk, it was wonderful, very inspiring. You also talked about how the power of media, especially film, storytelling, music, in shaping the whole cultures, And me as an immigrant, I grew up in town in Little Croatia, watching the movies, and the movies were the window to the world. What I knew about America was through music. So imagine that kind of power that movies have, and you talked about it. So you did two documentaries that have huge impact.
Yeah, we've done a lot of international. We've done stuff for BBC, that have aired on PBS, and probably 25 different networks have aired our projects. But the first one was we did this lady. She was trying to do a film. She could never get it funded. It was very non-commercial. It was about North Korean refugees. So we said, hey, instead of it never getting made, why don't you just make a documentary? It's easier to get funded. It's easier to make. So we went over there 2 weeks, and she'd never made a film, so we just kind of helped facilitate it. And we made it and helped her produce it and all that. And so anyway, got into Sundance. It played in over 50 major festivals. It won the One World Festival in Brussels, Best Film of the Year. And then, but what was interesting about it was this little tiny documentary. Like, we didn't have much budget, we didn't have anything. But Robert Redford said it was his favorite film of the thing, and
And the title of the movie is?
Kim Jong-il. And so anyway, it ended up going to play at the U.S. Capitol. It was one of the first, if not the first movie that they ever played inside the Capitol. And so they brought a lot of the Congress in, and then they brought the defectors in, and then the next day they had a session before Congress, and they brought all the people in to testify. And so that's when we were sitting there, and we really realized the power of a little bitty documentary, but the power of a story could actually change the policy of a whole nation.
Yes.
And so from that, we ended up doing other ones. We spent 3 months in India, and we did about the plot of women there. And it was
that's the Veil of Tears.
Veil of Tears.
Yes.
And that was one that actually, like, literally the president, running for president, used our trailer as propaganda, as vote for me because I'm the anti-American president, and he won. And so anyway, the other guy sent spies to our screenings, and then the president's mad at us. So we don't have any problem with controversy. But
so knowing the power of the movies, how do you, I mean, what do you see our reality? All these movies that are coming out that are shaping the children's and our consciousness. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, if our next generation of leaders are the Kardashians, we're in big trouble. So
well, and you can see a lot of that translating into our culture.
Yeah, yeah.
So what is your? I mean, tell me, how do you change it?
How
do we change it?
Yeah, basically, like every person and whatever it is, your talent, your skill, do it the best you can, but we need to, what happened, and this same way with me, when I was a kid, I was told Hollywood's bad, don't go there, that's for bad people, that's bad, bad, bad. But really, that's where you need people with integrity, and you need people with faith, and you need people, that's where you need them the most. And so when the church started preaching that, people left society, and so they left being relevant. And so interesting, I don't know if we have time, but there was this Russian we interviewed on Kim Jong-il, and he gave one of the best sermons I've ever spoke. He said, I'm an atheist, I come from Russia. He said, I help in the plot of the North Koreans, and the only people that have ever helped were the Christians. But he said, here's what's interesting. What happened to Christians? They used to be the ones that they were the inventors, they were the ones that built hospitals. They're the ones that created the greatest art in all of history. They're the ones that created the greatest architecture in all of history. He said, what are they today? They're irrelevant. And so he goes, what happened in 40 years that could make them completely irrelevant in society?
You're totally singing my song. I mean, that's what, I really believe that what we bring into this world, we can't just say, well, it's their fault. There's no them, there's only us. There's another factor, budgets. We can say, well, Hollywood has big budgets. They can do all of this. We can't. We're powerless. We're helpless. What do you say to that?
Talent trumps budget. Like, anytime, no matter what you do or where, yeah, you got to have a certain amount of budget to take care of the basics, but like anytime, we've all walked out of a $200 million movie and said that was a piece of junk, because story trumps special effects and talent trumps budget.
And then what about personal interest versus what we're talking about, versus this awareness that we are changing lives, we are affecting people, versus, well, sure, I'm going to be a big star and I'm going to take that $2 million from me. I don't care that it's filthy and that it's, influencing my children.
Yeah, I mean, that's when we started, we were in gangster rap, so like, there was some stuff, but I really felt like we were there because we were an influence to the people within it, because it didn't change us. We were just, I don't know, grounded. And then through the years, we've been in a lot of those places, but at some point, I realized my name is on this, and this represents me, and so I don't want my name to be on things that don't represent what my belief system is. And so Hollywood does. There's hardly a movie ever made, or there's hardly a story ever made that doesn't preach something, but they know how to say it versus, here, turn to the audience and preach to them. No, they say it in the context of the characters.
Yes.
And then they convince people and they get their way over.
Yes, storytelling is powerful. We're talking to Kyle Saylors, co-founder of Saylors Brothers Entertainment, and we're talking about entertainment with purpose. When we come back, we have a lot of fun stuff coming up.
Are you planning a live event? Looking to bring inspiration and a fresh approach to wake up your community or organization? Tai Chi's keynote concerts are transformational experiences that lead your audience to a life of joy, authenticity, courage, and purpose. Book Tai Chi for your next event now by visiting wakinguprevolution.com.
I'm here with Kyle Saylors, and it's time for one-word answers. Are you ready?
I guess.
Okay, what do you live for?
Life.
Your biggest joy?
God.
Your biggest fear?
Myself.
Most grateful for?
Friends.
Favorite food?
Steak.
You're from Texas, aren't you? Twitter or Instagram?
Instagram.
I believe in?
Love.
All that our world needs is?
More love.
Yes. If I could abolish anything from the earth, it would be?
Sex trafficking.
Green or yellow?
Green.
Oceans or mountains?
Mountains from the ocean.
Snow or beach?
Beach.
Car or truck?
Car.
You sure you're from Texas?
Oh,
Singing, singing or dancing?
Dancing.
Dessert or appetizer?
Dessert.
This year I claim?
Millions.
Kyle, thank you so much. So I have an email from a viewer. All right, so Jim from Wisconsin asks, do you ever ask yourself this? If I do what I do, will it really matter or make a difference after I'm gone?
Okay, so there's this one project, I won't go into it, it's called Hollywood on Fire. It was when we had this big crux with being and so for a year we found any Christian we could, interviewed them. We didn't know where it would go, what it would do. We ended up signing a bad distribution deal. It was available, but we made not one single penny. We made nothing, we didn't go anywhere. And it was just like, that was a big waste of time, money, it was a failure in our eyes. Years later, I moved to Nashville and they have me speak at this Tennessee Chamber of Commerce thing or whatever about that specific film. And they have me and there's this whole line of people. This one lady comes up and she's like, you don't know me? But she said, Farrah Fawcett, I've been friends with her for 15 years. And last week she died. And before she died, she said, go find Kyle Saylors and tell him thank you for making Hollywood on Fire. And so sometimes even your failures, if you do it, if you know you're supposed to do it, sometimes even your failures can affect somebody.
When we come back, we'll introduce the music segment. Kyle brought an amazing guest. Kyle, thank you for bringing Billy Dawson. Will you make it? Yes, awesome. Yeah. Will you make an introduction?
All right, so Billy Dawson is, I've known him since before I ever moved to Nashville. We were at the Dove Awards for something we did, and he was there. And we made friends, and he's awesome. He's played with Skillet and all kind of bands, but then he created his own solo career, and he works with Emmett Smith organization. He's a Amazon best-selling author. He's a cool dude.
Well, thanks, man.
Absolutely.
Best friends.
Yeah, wow, you were lucky.
Yeah.
When I moved to Franklin, I heard your name. You're kind of like a local legend, and
not
just
legend,
local, not legend, but
I don't know, and corn dog eating champion legend or something. I don't know. I'm from Texas too.
You're from Texas too. Wow.
Small town Texas. Yep.
Awesome. So tell me about your book.
My book is a book about bullying. It's called You Never Know. You never know what someone's going through. And so I wrote this kid's book. It became an Amazon best-selling children's book, which was cool. It's allowed me to go and speak to schools all over the country in the mornings.
And do you use music when you speak?
I do, but majority of it is message. And then at night I'll open up for people like Lee Brice or Toby Keith or Lady Antebellum, bands like that. But it allows me to open up a platform where I can speak to kids and try to instill knowledge into them.
Why is that your passion?
I was bullied in school and stuff, and seen a lot of kids in their lives, which kind of sparked me into writing the book. So
tell us about the song you're going to perform.
A song that I'm going to perform is called Church Without Jesus, which I wrote for my fiance and wrote it with Rivers Rutherford, who wrote When I Get Where I'm Going for Brad Paisley and Dolly Parton. And it's just a sentimental song. It kind of connects Christian beliefs with the country music. And you don't hear a lot of that. I mean, you can hear a few songs about Jesus, but the whole song is about it being away from her as being like a church without Jesus. So So that's what I compared it to.
That's so sweet. So there is this, you know, I come from a different background from, you know, grew up in communism. So the whole notion of actually singing about your religion, your faith, in whatever is country music or pop music is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Even, you know, and I just really appreciate when people, it's not a big deal. It's like, well, this is from my heart.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm not ashamed to sing about what I believe in, especially about the love I have for my girl, and been with me 9 years, which is awesome. So.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Kyle, you do every dinner, every party that you throw has great music. That's how I got a chance to meet Billy.
Kyle's done a lot of my videos. He did the Whatever Happens video, the Texas Farm Girl video. He did a bunch of really cool stuff.
We did a show with Emmett Smith together.
Yeah, talented sucker. He's a talented sucker.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to hear you sing.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Yes.
Well, I'm no prophet, I'm no preacher, just an everyday believer with a warrior's temper and a poet's heart. But I've been thinking lately about this life God gave me, and baby, you're my very favorite part. Oh, what would I do without you and your loving? Girl, I would be nothing inside. Like a church without Jesus, like a bell that don't ring. Yeah, the reverend still preaches, but the choir don't sing. Hey, I'd go on living, but my life would be through. 'Cause all I would be without you, a stained glass cracked in pieces, in a church without Jesus. I wanna be the one you're smiling for when your daddy brings you through the door, wipes a tear and walks you down that aisle. Wanna be your last first kiss, the one you make your babies with, 'cause without your love even just a little while, to be a church without Jesus, like a bell that don't ring. Yeah, the reverend still preaches, but the choir don't sing. Hey, I'd go on living, but my life would be through. 'Cause all I would be without you, stained glass cracked in pieces, in a church without Jesus. Yeah, church without Jesus means nothing at all. It's just a beautiful building with cold stone walls. Hey, I go on living, but my life would be through. 'Cause all I would be without you, stained glass cracked in pieces, in a church without Jesus. Church without Jesus. Church without Jesus.
Visit wakinguprevolution.com for the links to connect with my guest today, Kyle Saylors, and his musical friend, Billy Dawson. Also, when you're there, make sure that you check out all the other things we have for you so that you too can create your turning point and live with joy and purpose and follow your dream, create opportunities, and be willing to change, because the change in the world starts with you and me. If you wish to become our supporter, join us at patreon.com/wakingup. Thank you so much. Don't forget to share this and other episodes with your friends, family, and strangers. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.